red or whatever. It is a Tuesday, and so that means a little glance at the college football TV ratings from this past weekend. And guess who? We had a couple big bangers, but who do you think was the top, eyeball getter from the big games this weekend? You had Notre Dame and Louisville. You had Kentucky, Georgia, Bama, A&M, OU, Texas. You had,
I would have thought that Bama, A&M, but with OU and Texas both being undefeated and Texas being as highly ranked as they are, that one got off to an early start in that game. It was an 11 o'clock kick, and everybody's juiced up early.
Yes, and you would be correct. Oklahoma, Texas was the top-watched game in the country last weekend. 7.87 million viewers on ABC and ESPN2. The top earner, not by a grand margin, though, as we'll get to in just a second, but 7.87 million. That included ABC. That included the Pat McAfee simulcast over on ESPN2. But largest audience for Red River since 2009. And there was one game between these two that was a bit higher, but it doesn't count as far as the regular season tally because it was the Big 12 championship rematch that they had back in 2018. That actually drew 10-plus million viewers, so that was higher. But regular season-wise for Red River, highest since 2009 and 7.87 million viewers for that game. It's up about 4 million from last year. Why do you think that is? Well, because that was a blowout win, and most people got bored and turned the channel as Texas went on to romp them 40-0. So big bounce back in the ratings there, but not too far behind. Over on CBS, that 3:30 kick, Alabama, Texas A&M, about 500,000 less viewers, 7.23 million watched Alabama and A&M. Notre Dame, Louisville, third, 5.12 million viewers. Maryland, Ohio State drew 4.5 million viewers. And then rounding out the top five, you had Kentucky and Georgia with 3.19 million viewers. And, man, how do you feel? And you already feel pretty bulletproof as is, but if you're Greg Sankey and you were sitting there surveying the lands of Oklahoma and Texas on Saturday and the scene that was, and then you turn around and you had Alabama A&M going on at the same time, and then not to mention Kentucky, Georgia right there amongst other games. Man, well, I'm sure he was just ear to ear smiling all Saturday long and still probably to this day.
Ross Dellinger from, again, with what he does at Yahoo, actually wrote a story about it, penned at his top of his Twitter feed. A day with the SEC King, 200,000 fans, 500 miles, plenty of cowboy hats, 5 funnel cakes, 3 cities, 2 top 25 games, and 1 born-again Texan. On Greg Sankey on the weekend he had in the state of Texas.
Yeah, Greg Sankey said a couple things in that, like, he has those moments where he sounds like the emperor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like...
He kisses ring?
Yeah, just a little bit, good. Your anger makes me stronger. Those kind of things. Like, and then he says things that are really, reasonable, but like that's kind of how I view him a little bit. Is he has these moments where he slips into like, so what are you gonna do about it? Mm-hmm. He's got to be just so fat and happy because look, he got one of the best, when it's all about television, he got one of the best television shows you can get is Texas, Oklahoma. And
he just got Game of Thrones at its peak, basically.
Exactly. He got Texas and Oklahoma, and they had the decency to be good at the same time for him.
Right, yeah.
Like that, and again, the Big 12 should be even more mad about Texas and Oklahoma, like not pulling their weight a little bit in that, hey, this is the crown jewel of the thing. If you guys could both be good at the same time.
Yeah,
so
because they've done this like 8 of the last 10 years instead of like they did the one, but
if both of them,
in a way.
but would it have been different if Oklahoma had won one of those national title opportunities or if Texas had won in 2009?
Or I
just wonder what the landscape would be. If that were to have happened, but yeah, it's not their fault. Not saying that, but would that have changed things, or was this always destined to be? I mean, who really knows? But yeah, Greg Sankey's got to be fat and happy. And I saw that headline, didn't get to read the full article, but I guess that's delving into my very question. But I have no doubt he looked like the Cheshire Cat with 15+ million viewers for the top 2 games on Saturday, and all 4 of those teams and those 2 games will be a part of his conference starting next year. So it almost seems like that should be a weekend, right? Like OU, Texas, Bama, A&M, and have it set up like that. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
that's something they look into. But Kentucky, Georgia also did very well. You had a couple games, Michigan, Minnesota, Virginia Tech, FSU also pulled in $3+ million. And K-State, Oklahoma State on Friday night, $2.27 million. So a pretty
nice
healthy
chunk.
number. Yeah, pretty healthy number there for that ESPN Friday night game, which we know is going to be more of the norm moving forward for the Big 12 Conference. UCF Kansas was nearly at $1.5 million as well. And so there you go. There's just a few of those games that got $1 million or more. I didn't mention all of them, but some of the Big 12, and obviously at the top, the SEC with two monstrous games with those two rivalries there. Meanwhile,